This is a succulent, and over the next few minutes, I'll share with you the top 7 care tips that'll not only keep you from killing this resilient plant, but will also teach you how to make it thrive. Plus, I'll throw in some details you didn't even know you needed until now. Stick around till the end. These tips will save you time, money, and most importantly, your plant's life. Because we both know you're a little too attached to let that thing die. Alright, so let's kick things off at the garden center, also known as plant heaven. And no, it's not because it's a graveyard for all the plants I've accidentally killed, but because it's where we find pure joy, and every aisle is calling our name. But today, we're zeroing in on succulents. And as tempting as it is to grab the first one that catches our eye, picking the perfect succulent takes a bit more strategy. And we always start by checking the leaves. Healthy succulents should have plump, firm, and fleshy leaves, not shriveled, soft, or droopy ones. If the leaves are thick and vibrant, that's a keeper. But if they're dry, sad looking, or basically giving off signs of, I haven't had a good day since who knows when, it's a sign that the plant's been stressed or neglected. So just walk away. You're not here to play plant rehab. At least I'm not. Sorry, buddy. Next, let's talk color. Succulents are famous for their stunning hues, so their leaves should look bright and bold. If you notice a little red on the edges, that's totally normal, and most of the times, this is caused by the plant receiving too much light, which some of us like the look, me included. But if you see yellowing, browning, or black spots, that's a no-go. It could mean rot or disease, so it's best to stay away. Also, don't forget the stems. They should be sturdy and compact, not long, leggy, or floppy. Leggy stems tell us the plant hasn't been getting enough light, and while you might be able to rescue it if you're up for the challenge and it's at a discounted price, I wouldn't mess with it. Strong, compact growth is always a better choice. And finally, here's a pro tip. Gently wiggle the succulent out of its pot. Be very gentle, you don't want to damage the plant or make a mess. If the soil is soggy or moldy, put it back. It's a recipe for root rot. The soil should be dry and loose, which means it's well draining. Also, pay attention to the roots. The healthy ones with most varieties are white or light tan and not mushy or dark. Alright, so we've brought home the perfect succulent, or should I say succulents. I know, I couldn't help myself. So now let's make sure they thrive. The key to keeping succulents happy is getting their lighting just right. These sun-loving plants are built for bright, indirect light. So a sunny spot like a south-facing window works best. But don't overdo it, because too much intense direct sunlight, especially during the midday, can leave their leaves sunburned with brown or white scars. And trust me, they don't bounce back from that easily. On the flip side, if your succulent isn't getting enough light, you'll start to see it stretch towards the nearest light source, a process called etiolation, which leaves you with long, leggy stems and spaced out leaves, which nobody wants, and while it won't usually kill your plant, it'll definitely lose that compact, tidy look. If natural light is scarce, then supplementing with grow lights is a great fix, and actually how I grow mine most of the time. In regards to temperature, succulents thrive between 60 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, so keep them away from cold drafts, freezing temperatures, or sudden swings that can stress them out. And as far as humidity, they prefer dry air. So your home's average indoor humidity should work just fine. Just keep in mind that succulents can handle low humidity much better than high humidity. Too much moisture in the air can lead to trouble like root rot, fungal infections, or fungus gnats. Alright, now let's talk about the trickiest part of succulent care, watering. This is where most succulent owners go wrong, usually with the best of intentions, but catastrophic results. Remember, succulents are desert natives, basically the camels of the plant world. They're built to store water in their thick leaves and stems, so drowning them in daily hydration is a fast track to root rot. And root rot? Well, let's just say that's a polite way of saying, congrats, you've killed another plant. So before you grab that watering can, do a quick soil check. The soil should be bone dry, not just on the surface, but all the way down. A wooden skewer or dowel works great to test this, but you can also check the leaves. If they're soft, wrinkled, or starting to lose their shine, that's a cue to water. When you do water, go all in. Saturate the soil completely and let the excess water drain out of the pot. Here's my favorite watering hack. It's what I call totem watering, a mix of top and bottom watering, and here's how it works. Place your succulent in a bowl or tray. Then water the plant from the top, letting water run through the soil into the bowl below, trying to keep the leaves dry. Let the pot sit in the water for about 10 minutes so the soil can soak up moisture from both directions. And finally remove the pot and let the excess water drain completely. Why bother doing it this way? Well, when your succulent soil gets super dry, it can become hydrophobic, meaning water runs straight through without actually hydrating the roots. This method makes sure your succulent gets a proper even drink from top to bottom, instead of letting your plant sit there sipping on the air and wondering what it did to deserve such neglect. Alright, we've tackled watering, so now let's move on to fertilizing your succulents. While these tough little plants don't need a buffet of nutrients, the right fertilizer can help them stay vibrant and grow stronger. Succulents aren't big eaters, so keep it light with a balanced, water-soluble fertilizer diluted to half the strength. A fertilizer with a low or balanced NPK ratio like 10-10-10 or 5-10-10 works best. Too much nitrogen, the first number, can cause your succulent to grow fast and leggy, which might sound exciting, but it actually weakens the plant. As far as the timing is crucial. Succulents do most of their growing in spring and summer, so that's your fertilizing window. Once a month during the growing season is plenty, and in the fall and winter when your plant is dormant, skip the fertilizer. It doesn't need the extra nutrients and could end up stressing them out. While succulents aren't high maintenance, when it comes to pruning, a quick trim here and there keeps them healthy, prevents rot, and shapes them into compact show-stopping beauties. Which is great because if I want a plant that looked like it just rolled out of bed, I just stick to ferns. And the first reason you should prune your succulents is so that you can remove dead or damaged leaves. Look for brown, shriveled, or mushy leaves and gently remove them. You can pull them off with your fingers or use clean, sharp scissors or shears. Clearing out the dead material not only freshens up your plant, but also keeps rot from spreading to the healthy parts. If your succulent is stretching out and looking leggy, it's time for a haircut. Trim the top part of the plant just above a leaf node, which is where the leaves meet the stem. Doing it this way will encourage new growth below the cut and help your plant bounce back with a fuller, bushier shape. Occasionally, you'll need to repot your succulents to keep them healthy, happy, and thriving. While succulents don't need to be repotted often, giving them fresh soil and a bit more room when they've outgrown their pot makes a world of difference. Let's start by talking about how you know it's time to repot. If your succulent is root bound, in other words, the roots are circling tightly around the pot, it's growing slower than usual, or the soil looks compact, it may need to be repotted. When that's the case, then I suggest you start by choosing a new pot that has drainage holes and that is about 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter than the existing pot. Succulents like a cozy fit, and a pot that's too big can lead to soggy soil and eventually root rot. To repot them, gently remove your plant from its current pot, loosen the soil around the roots, and inspect them for any rot or damage. If you do see anything unhealthy, snip it off with clean, sharp scissors. Then take some cactus or succulent mix. If you need some, check out my website for my custom succulent blend. I'll put a link in the description. Add just enough soil to the pot so that the top of our existing root ball will sit just below the surface of our new pot. Finally, fill in around your succulent with the soil. After repotting, resist the urge to water right away and let your succulent hang out for a few days so its roots can heal. And remember, repotting during the growing season, spring or early summer, is ideal as your plant will be more ready to adjust and thrive. Succulents, as we've said, are tough little plants, but even they run into trouble sometimes. If you got your watering under control, congratulations. You're officially the plant parent of the year. But don't get too comfortable because pests like aphids, spider mites, and fungus gnats are basically nature's way of saying, nice plant you got there, it'd be a shame if something happened to it. But don't worry, I got you. Aphids are tiny, sap-sucking pests that love to gang up on new growth and the underside of leaves and leave behind sticky residue, better known as honeydew, that attracts even more problems, like ants and mold. And then there are spider mites, the true tiny terrors. They're almost invisible to the naked eye, but you'll know they're there if you spot fine web-like threads draped over your plant or you see tiny white spots on the leaves. To get rid of both of them, you can start by rinsing the leaves under running water to get as many as you can off of the plant, all the while trying to get as little water as possible in the soil. Then I recommend you spray them down with insecticidal soap, which will usually do the trick for aphids. But for spider mites, you'll need to be a little more aggressive, and you'll need to go an extra step and make an application of neem oil, or you can fill a spray bottle with isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol and thoroughly mist the plant, paying special attention to the undersides of the leaves. If you do decide to go with alcohol, make sure you avoid direct sunlight while they're being treated. And the last pest we may need to deal with are fungus gnats. They're not as common with succulents because you should run them on the dry side. But if for some reason you do spot them, then start by changing your watering practices and only water when the soil is 100% dry. Yep, you've been overwatering, and this quick, easy tip will definitely help you get started on the right path. But if this doesn't get rid of them once and for all, watch this video and I'll go into detail step by step on how I got rid of my fungus gnat infestation.